Hi everyone, it's Ryan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different and I'm actually going to be making laundry detergent. We are about to run out, so I thought this would be a fun little video to share. Okay, to start out with, in my pot, and I'm going to turn this back on here in a minute, it was already boiling. I have 4 cups of water and you're going to want to bring that to a boil. I also have 1 bar of the Fels Naptha soap. And you can find this in your laundry detergent aisle at your grocery store normally. And I have just grated it with a cheese grater. You're also going to need 1 cup of washing soda. Make sure you get washing soda and not baking soda. And then 1 cup of borax. And I also like to add some of those little scent beads. These are the Downy Unstoppable scent beads. And I like to use these because I can control, what scent the detergent is and also how scented it is, whether it's really strong or just barely there. So this is probably about a third of a cup. My recipe is going to say a quarter cup, but you can add whatever you want to yours. All right, so I am going to turn my 4 cups of water back on high to get it to boil. And I was going to show you that this is what the bar of the Fels Naphtha looks like in your store. I get all of this stuff at Walmart. I am going to include some links down below just in case your store maybe doesn't carry any of this stuff. Just know that in the links, it is way more expensive than what it is in the store. This bar is probably around $2 in the store, and these were each under $10. So make sure I would recommend getting them from Walmart or your local grocery store. Don't do that with something floating in the water. And I do have, this is a pot that I picked up at Goodwill because I really didn't want to use one of my good pots for this because the scent can kind of stay with it. So I would recommend kind of getting, and the same way with the spatula, this is an old spatula that I had, so I only use this for my laundry detergent. And then later on, you're going to need a blender or something like that if you want to do the recipe fully like I do. Um, so I also got the blender at Goodwill as well. So you take your grated bar of soap and you just dump it in the boiling water. And I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. We're just trying to melt this. And it does look like shredded cheese, so make sure you keep this out of reach of children or anyone that might think that it is shredded cheese. And you're just going to continuously stir this. And I like to kind of press it in to get it to really start melting. And I'm probably going to speed through this part in the video. So I'm going to stop talking for a little bit and wait until this completely melts together. You want to make sure that it is completely melted before you add anything else in. Okay, so these are, the little chunks are pretty well dissolved. So I am going to lower the temperature, and this is when I'm going to add my washing soda, my borax, and you need to be careful during this part and make sure that it does not boil over on your cooktop. Then I'm going to add the scent beads as well. I don't add the scent beads too early with the other soap because I don't want all of the scent to go away. So now you are just going to stir until the gritty feeling disappears. And to melt the soap, that was right around 10 minutes. of stirring for that. And it was on pretty high temperature. I did turn it up a little. So now, I don't know if you can hear it, but it is really gritty right now. So I'm just going to continue to let this cook, and it will get really smooth. And making your own detergent, I have been doing this for years. I kind of got out of the habit for a while, but over the last year, we have been making our own. And it is so much cheaper, like pennies compared to buying laundry detergent, and it performs just as well. Like this can be used for like a pre-treat, like you put it on your clothes if you have like a stain. It works in cold and hot water. And I'll kind of tell you later on how I go about putting it in my washer. Many people that I've seen make their own still put it in the detergent container of their washer, but I just don't do that because it is a thick mixture, and I just go ahead and throw it directly into a washer. But I'll show you that again later. So now I'm just going to continue stirring this until it is until you can't hear so much of the grit on the bottom. The grit isn't going to completely disappear, but you want most of that sound. Get the microphone closer, maybe you can hear it. You just want that to go away a little bit more. And I am scraping the bubbles off the side. And once we get done, I also have 2-quart wide mouth mason jars that I only use for laundry detergent. And I have those sitting over off to the side. And I also have a funnel. So we are going to pour this mixture into those mason jars because this needs to sit in those jars for 6 to 8 hours so it can cool down and it will actually separate. It kind of looks like if you poured like the fat off of bacon or something like that, where the hard particles go to the top and the liquid stays at the bottom. So that's kind of fun. But you can see we've got kind of a light pink mixture here because of the scent beads. And like I said, you really want to be careful during this part and not have your temperature too high to where it's going to boil an insane amount and boil over, because that would be a mess. Have I done it before? Absolutely. Was not fun to clean up. So the grittiness is starting to go away. You can see some of those soap chunks that I did not get dissolved all the way are still in there. So I'm just gonna smash it up against the side a little bit. Help it kind of blend. Like I said, this is gonna go in a blender later, so it's not a huge deal. You just don't want them to be hard chunks in there. All right. I can still hear a little bit of the grittiness, but I think this is going to be good. So I'm going to turn off the heat and I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way and I'll be right back. Okay, so my setup for getting this into these jars is I have a few pot holders underneath so that this pot is at an angle. And I have the 2 wide mouth quart mason jars on top of a paper towel just in case it drips all over. I don't want to clean it right off of my counter. And then I just have the measuring cup that I use to measure out the washing soda and the washing soda and borax. And then I just go through and I do a few in each one to start out. You'd think that I would know exactly where it's supposed to go in the mason jar by now because I have been doing this for so long, but I don't. So I'm going to do a few in this one, and then I'll move the funnel over. And you could just pour this if you wanted to. These handles are really hot on this one, and I'm not the best at pouring out of a pan, honestly. I tend to make messes. So I'm just doing it this way to create less of a mess. Okay, so I'm going to scrape all of this off because even though this just looks like it's a bunch of bubbles, it's actually the soap hardened on here. I'm going to scrape that off, scrape down the sides, and you do kind of have to work quickly during this part for it to stay liquid. Oh, that's hot. So now I'm just going to pour. Don't want to pour too much because I do need to move back over to this other one. So now, see how well I can do this. My hand, yep, directly in the way. All right. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to put, I'm sorry, I keep putting the pan directly in front of the camera. So now, clean all of this out of the funnel. And I'm going to get a measuring cup of water and I'll be right back. All right, so now you're going to take some water and you are going to fill it up to the shoulder of the mason jar. This doesn't have to be hot or cold, just water. I'm going to fill it up to the shoulder and then pop the lid on. So you want to make sure that your lids are really tight because now you are going to invert the bottle or the jars, and you are going to leave them here on the counter for 6 to 8 hours, and you will start to see them separate just here in a little bit. So I will come back and show you what that looks like, and then we will come back and finish it up. All right, so it has been about 6 hours, and you can see that it has separated. This stuff up here is really solid, and then this down here is a liquid. So I want to show you something to look for when you're taking the lid off. I have some paper towels down here on the counter because it suctions pretty good, and there's crystals here. You do not want to mix that in with the rest of your stuff. And actually, this has never happened to me before. I'm guessing because I rushed the cooking process. This is crystally. So I need to scoop all of this off. I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got all of that off of the top. Like I said, I think that that is from when I kind of rushed the end process there to where I didn't let all of that grittiness go away. So now what I'm going to do, I have a super old blender here. I got this at Goodwill. I've actually used this for mixing up chalk paint and stuff too, so it is quite stained, so don't judge it. And I'm just pouring that in there. And then this solid part, I'm taking my spatula and I'm kind of cutting it and just kind of breaking it into pieces so that I can scoop it down into the blender. This isn't the nicest part of the process. It is a little messy, but it's all going to be worth it. And I will move the blender closer to the camera so you can watch it all come together. And yeah, I've never had it be this gritty before. Of course, it would do it when I'm doing a video. And the puppy will not be quiet. She's mad. I put her in her crate. So we're just having all kinds of fun. Hands real quick. All right, so I'm gonna move this a little, move this a little closer. And I'm going to put the lid on to start with. So I'm going to turn this on and put it on the highest setting. So mine is either liquefy or frappe, whatever yours has. Whatever the highest setting is, put it on that. I'm obviously going to turn off the sound for this part because it's going to be insanely loud, but I'll stop it before I do the next step. Okay. It takes it a little bit to come together, so now I'm just kind of taking the spatula and pushing some of it down, just really trying to get everything down to the bottom so it hits the blades. All that back in there. Sorry if this is really loud. Sometimes this audio is a little off. So here we go again. Okay. It's not doing a lot. So this is what I always do. I'm not recommending this. I'm just telling you this is what I do. So please do not come blame me if you make a mess all over your kitchen or you ruin your blender. But I leave the lid off and I just take my spatula and I take it across the top, nowhere near the blades, so that it gets everything blended. And you will see it start to come together and liquefy. So here we go. Okay, turned it off, and now I'm going to try to bring some more of what's down at the bottom up toward the top. I'm also sure these noises are not the greatest. So I'm going to turn it back on and do the exact same thing. Okay, I'm going to try to bring it over. So see how smooth it is now? It just looks like Cool Whip, or when I've used my other ones, like when I use a blue Unstoppable or a purple scent bead, it looks like mayonnaise. The yellow from the soap and the, I don't know, it just makes it look like mayonnaise. So now I have a little canister here, and this is what I keep in my laundry room. So I am just going to, let's see, let's try to get it here. So now I'm just going to pour it in here. And you don't have to worry about getting everything out because we still have one more jar to mix. And this is very concentrated, so you could mix this with some water if you wanted it a little more liquid, but you're going to have to add more to each load of laundry if you do that. So this is just how I do it, and I'll show you here in just a second how I measure out for each load of laundry. So I'm going to get this second one going. I'm going to speed through this really fast on the video so you don't have to watch and listen to it all. This one had very few crystals on top. So that is good. All right, nice and smooth again. So now we are going to pour this one in here. Okay, I'm going to clean this out and then I will show you how I use it in laundry. All right, so here we have the laundry soap and how I use it. I'll show you. It does thicken up. So this is what I had left from the last batch. This is why I was like, oh, I really need to make some. So I take a plastic spoon and I literally just get a heaping spoonful and I throw this entire thing in the laundry. The spoon and all. It will come clean. I just take it out before I throw everything in the dryer, and that's it. So let me know in the comments how you like it. You can also use this as like a pre-treat for stains and stuff. Just take some and rub it on the stain, and you are good to go. I've never had any issues with this. It works exactly the same, sometimes better, as store-bought laundry detergent. Hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.